So we've been going on this journey of how to find happiness all the time. That's our talk title. That's what we're looking at for the next, this is week number 2, so after this we've got 5 more weeks. And I want to start with this because this really hit me when I saw this last week, and I talked about this a little bit last week. If everything you do is results oriented, your very existence becomes purely functional. Really let that soak in. You become functional. Is that what you want to be? I think back when I was in the corporate world and I wasn't aware, I wasn't alive, I hadn't found this Lee guy. And when I found this Lee guy, I realized I was being functional. I was highly functional in the corporate world, but I wasn't being the love. I wasn't being the joy. I wasn't being the peace. And I think about that now and I go, could I have been the love, the joy, and the peace in the corporate world? The answer is yes. You don't have to leave where you are to become what you really are. You can do that no matter where you're at in your life, no matter if you're in a bad relationship, no matter what your health is, no matter what type of job you have, no matter what type of money you have. You can become your authentic self. And the second you become that authentic self, you start to attract new experiences in the form of better health, more money, better relationships, a deeper sense of understanding, a deeper sense of self-love. That's where it comes from. You can't have an external event, and we'll get into that later. That doesn't change us. External events don't change us. Shifts in our mind change us. That's what really takes us there. And so when we look at happiness is a choice. This is what the lesson is about today. It is not something that comes to you. It is a choice that you get to make with every thought, word, and action you have. We talk about that there's a creative power, a creative intelligence that responds to the nature of our thought. I think today I used that as part of my thought for the day. I said, do you know that there is a creative nature that responds to the nature of your thought? Now the key word there is nature. The nature of your thought, meaning it's not just your thought, but it's the words that follow the thought. It's the actions that follow the thoughts. But here's the juice. It's the feeling that you attach to it. That's the most critical thing. No matter what you're doing, it's the feeling that you have when you're doing it, thinking it, or speaking it that causes the shift. Without that feeling, and here's the thing, you can say something easily. I'm now in a perfect relationship. You can think it. You can act like it. But you know what? If you don't feel it, you can't fool yourself. You cannot fool yourself. The law, that aspect that creates, always knows if those 4 things are in alignment. And that's the work. That's the process of starting a prayer and receiving the prayer demonstrated is the alignment of those 4 things. And when they are in alignment, it's a natural outpicturing. The prayer must be answered. But if it's not answered, one of those 4 things is out of alignment. Here's one that really pops in a lot of times where we're out of alignment. We'll be going along, I'm doing everything great, my words are wonderful, and I get sarcastic. Well, think about what sarcasm is. It's really making fun in a negative way over something, but really those words are being heard by that which creates, and it takes the sarcasm and it doesn't hear that it's sarcastic, it just creates it. I was a master of sarcasm. I had to let it go. It wasn't helping me, it was hurting me. And there are times when I let you know that I'm human, and I revert back. And for that brief moment, that sarcasm is a ball. You can become the life of a party when you've got that sarcasm rolling. You can let it go. But guess what? It comes back later. And it bites you right here. It always does. You can't escape the law. You can't escape the creative process. It hears and knows everything, and it responds to that nature. So as we go down this idea, if you want to be sad, no one or anything in the world can make you happy. It's your choice to be sad. It's your choice to be depressed. It's your choice to be miserable. Now keep in mind, depression is a habit where we've thought something for so long that we've literally rewired our brains. And our brain naturally takes on the tendency to focus on depressing things. And so our job to heal ourselves from depression is to rewire our brain, to reprogram our brain. And we do that through changing our thoughts, our words, our actions, and our feelings. We have to rewire our brains. We have to not be statistics. We have to not be averages. We have to be our unique selves. That's the key. What is the uniqueness of you desiring to be? And only you know that. So an outside event, an outside person, they may bring you what you feel is a temporary joy, but in the quiet of the night, when you wake up at 3 a.m, it's you that you're with. How many people wake up early in the mornings? Most everyone. I do. Today I think it was like 2:33. I was up, I said, what's going on? Nothing. Well, let me do my mantra. So I start doing my mantra. And I'm going on, I'm clean saw clean mine, I'm clean saw clean mine. Hour later, damn, the mantra's not doing it. What's going on? You need to listen. I just heard that. You need to listen. So I sat in meditation. And what came to me in meditation is the greatest thing that we can do to be happy is to balance the ego with a state of oneness. Do you hear that? We have an ego that likes to play and dance in the world, and there's nothing wrong with our ego when we control it. There's also a side of us that loves to be in a state of oneness, to be in that perfect place, to be there. Our job is to balance it so the ego doesn't take too much over. Our job, too, is not to go into the silence and stay in the silence. That's not why we're here in human form. We're here in human form with senses to feel, to live, to know, and to experience life in all of its fullness. That's what we're here to do. To deny the senses is wrong. Don't be attached, though, to what the senses are giving us. Just know that they're there to be experienced in their fullness, but it's not why we are. It's not who we are. But boy, the experience of the sense, think about if there is such a thing that there are souls waiting to come down into the physical body. They want to come down for one reason only. They want to feel what it's like to create. And in the feeling of what it's like to create, you have to experience a contrast. So it's like a two-edged sword. You've got to have both. If you're going to create, there must be contrast. And that's why we're here. Rest assured, there's no other reason why we're here is to create. And when we understand that we're creating, and we're focused on where we want to be, know that nothing will stop you. Nothing will get in your way, because everything will be seen as on the way, not in the way. Do you see that? When you are moving in your dream, in your direction, nothing stops you from it. You just see it as, that's how it is. You don't have to be any different. That's just how it is, and I'll overcome that. Happiness comes by dreaming, thinking, and living it in all circumstances. We have forgotten how to dream. We've forgotten how to visualize. Do you remember when you were little boys and little girls? Well, you're still just a little girl, aren't you? We could play, we could dance, we could create a picture in our minds that was fantastic. And we got away from that because we had to be adults. We had to grow up. And by God, Lee, you got to someday become mature. Do you ever hear that? You are such a child. I mean, the nuns beat the hell out of me with that one. I can show you knuckles that are swollen still from the pointers of the nuns whacking you across. I had that Catholic upbringing where you heard about Sister Marie Waltrud. Did you ever hear about Sister Marie Waltrud? She was my 7th grade nun. And she was like 95 years old. And she lived at Golden Corral because she was a big woman. And she had a nasty temper. And if you looked happy, she would whap you with her pointer across your fingers. You know how we got even with Sister Marie Waltrud? I don't know if you realized it, but back, there were Bic pens. And the Bic pens, when I was growing up, you could take the insert out of the Bic pen. And then what you would do is you'd take paper and you'd wad it up like spitballs. And Sister Marie Waltrud, she would walk down the aisle and get to the back of the room. And then she would walk back. And when she would walk back, about 6 guys would take out their pea shooters and go. And at the end of class, her back of her dark blue habit had all these white spots on it. Hundreds of white spots, and the floor was covered in snow. I want you to know, do you know how many detentions we got for that? And we never stopped, though. It was just too much fun. Anytime you get a nun and she's walking along and all of a sudden she kicks the wastebasket and says, "Pardon me," you know you've got a victim. And you got to play with it. Life is too short to be serious. Dream. Dream. The greatest deterrents to happiness are lack of desire to progress, satisfaction, and skepticism. No matter what you're looking for in your life, you have to have a desire to become more. You have to have a desire to be more, to experience more. And you cannot be skeptical. If there are people that are skeptical in your life, you get them out. You get them out. If you're dealing with a disease and your doctor doesn't say, "We are going to heal," you get a new doctor. You get a doctor that believes that the process that you're going to go through is going to make you whole and that you can do it. And you tell the doctor up front. I remember when I went through my hernia surgery. I couldn't heal myself of the hernia, but I could quicken in my mind the time of healing. And I looked at the doctor. I remember before going into surgery, I said, "This doctor is going to be the very best surgery you ever do." And he looked at me and he said, "Why are you saying that?" I said, "Because I'm setting it into law." And he looked at me really funny and says, "I'm very deliberate and I'm very powerful. And I want you to know that I know that this is going to be the best surgery that you ever do. In fact, I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going to heal in half the time." It was the best surgery I ever did, and I did heal in half the time. Instead of 4 weeks, I did that in 8. Instead of 8, I did it in 4. You have that power. Your mind is the power that is God. It can create anything. It's only when you're skeptical that you don't use the mind. It's skepticism that takes you out of your creative power. So you've got to stop taking what other people say as gospel. It is not gospel. What you determine is gospel is gospel. Don't believe and give your power away to anyone. When you give your power away, you are definitely not going to be happy. When you reclaim your power, now you're on the road to happiness. Don't be bound by set rules, as there are always exceptions to every rule. Remember, if 95% of the people die for some reason, there are 5% that don't. Which one of those two groups do you want to be in? See, you get the choice. Are you going to focus on the 95 or are you going to focus on the 5? Here's a key thing. 1% of the population controls most of the wealth. Are you going to focus on being the 99% or are you going to focus on being the 1%? To be in the 1%, it's a pretty easy thing. Let's take the top 5%. Let's just be in the top 5%. That's easier for people to buy into, wouldn't you say? All you got to do is have a net worth of $1 million. That's not a big thing. It's your skepticism, it's your laughing at it, it's your not believing it that's causing you to not become a millionaire. It's when you embody the fact that being a millionaire is really relatively easy if you understand the law of compound interest and you start investing on a daily or weekly or monthly basis and you continually do that and you're in the right vessel, you will be a millionaire. There's no doubt about it. It's the law. It's easy. It's not a complex thing. But we don't buy into that. We think it's complex and we're skeptic about it and we think that it's not us, it's going to be the other person. Well, the other person, the reason they're a millionaire is because they believe they can be. They think, well, all of them are not going to be in the 5%. This is a common thing with ministers. Ministers believe that in order to be a minister, you have to be poor. You can't have money. Why would you limit the law? Think about that. Why would anyone limit the law, no matter who they are? The more money you have, the more good you can do. Money is great. It's the attachment to money that causes pain, but money itself is wonderful. I want more. Hey, everyone in here, afterwards, you want to prove it? Just give me a $100 bill and I'll hug and kiss you. I'll take every bit of money you want to do. In fact, I put it out there today, and I hope who owns the Noah's franchise in Salt Lake City is listening right now. But I put out a thought today that the Noah's corporate is going to give us this building. Why not put it out there? And I said, this or something better. See, don't limit the law into one thing. Always ask for this or something better. I want a relationship as good as I've got today with my wife, Jean, or better. You see, because in the infinite, there's always more. And you're always seeking more. So that when you think that your relationship can't go any further, guess what? The relationship dies. Because if it's not growing, it's dead. Relationships are always growing. We're always becoming more. Happiness is a habit of how we think and see the world. It's simple that. You'll meet people who are happy and you'll know they have a habit and they're always on. Very seldom are they off, but they're always thinking in a positive way. So, happiness depends, though, to some extent on external conditions. There are conditions. I forget, is it Viktor Frankl? Was a psychologist that was imprisoned in one of the concentration camps in Nazi Germany. And he watched thousands and thousands and thousands of people die. He lived in the most horrific conditions that any human being could possibly live in. But every day in his mind, he saw himself surviving and thriving. And he came out of there able to help people afterwards because in his mind, he would not give in to what everyone else was doing. There was a captain who was a POW camp, a POW prisoner. And every day for 5 years, I think it was, he played a round of golf in his mind. He would literally play that round of golf in his mind every day, every stroke. He would visualize the whole course. He would play that round of golf. And when he came out, he was a great golfer. He hadn't lost a thing. The power of the mind is incredible. Sometimes the circumstances that we're in, they're challenging, but we have the choice of how we deal with them. A person cannot just be happy by holding on to an inner calm while completely ignoring the struggle for existence and effort for success. So many times, people, I'm so happy, life is going on. Oh, they're coming to take my home away. Oh, my car's being repossessed. You know, you can't deny the fact that if you don't have money coming in, you don't have money coming in, and it's time to get into the world and give your gift and make money. You got to deal with what's in front of you. You can't ignore things that are in front of you. They're not going to just go away. You have to deal with it. The power to deal with it is only within you, and no one else is going to be your savior. In order to be happy, one needs good health, an efficient and clear mind, the right work, supportive habits, and a connection to spirit. We could dwell on that forever. Those are really just beautiful ideas that if you start to really think about it, good health. How does health come? Health is a choice that we can make, regardless of where we are in this moment, we can now choose to be healthy. We can now start and say, okay, if I'm going to be healthy, what does it require to have a healthy body? Number one, first thing I have to do is I have to relieve the stress in my life. Because we understand that stress causes most disease. 95% is going to be stress. So if we can now start getting into a practice of meditation, a practice of seeing the world in balance and taking the stress out, we're almost there. Then what else do we do? Then we start finding foods that feed us, that we believe are nutritional, that we believe are healthy for us, that we believe will nourish us. Then what we do is we find and drink alkaline water because we understand that alkaline water takes the acidic nature within us, and it takes acidic nature and brings us back into pH balance, and in pH balance, disease cannot exist. And then we start doing exercise. We start acting like we're already healthy, whole, and perfect, and our body seems to understand, oh, this person's young. They're exercising, therefore their body needs to be healthy and vital in that. Think about that. That's all a mental choice, everything we're doing. Do you know why sex drive dies? Because the body doesn't see itself as being creative anymore. It's not doing what it loves, and so it doesn't think of itself as young and virile and in the creative moment. And so it says, well, since they're already dying, we'll kill the sex drive. It's all psychosomatic, no matter what anyone thinks. But it becomes a medical problem when it becomes a habit, and we're wired that way. So everything comes back to what's going on up here. And who chooses what goes on up here? You can either choose to let other people's thoughts come in there, or you can choose to plant your own thoughts there. That's the key. You're at choice. You're at power. Our job is not to ignore the material causes that stand in our way of unhappiness, but rather remove them and go through all of our activities with a calm and happy mind. That's our choice. No matter what comes in our way, we have the choice as to how we respond to it in every aspect of our life. But to do this, it takes great courage, because you're going to be bucking the trend of society. Because in society, it's about someone else is responsible. Turn your power over to the priest. Turn your power over to the minister. Turn your power over to the government. Turn your power over to the doctor. Turn your power over to... Don't turn it over to me. I ain't got nothing for you. I can see your power. I can know your power with you, but I don't got any power for you. You've got it, and you're as powerful as any human being that's walked the planet. That's really the critical thing to remember. You are as powerful. You have the same mind that every other human being has, and that mind is connected to infinite mind. And being connected to infinite mind, all power resides within you. This is what it boils down to. It's a choice. Do you choose to be happy? Do you choose to balance your life? Do you choose to use the power within you? The key thing is, do you feel that you are worthy of happiness? Are you worthy to make that choice? Do you believe that you deserve it? Think about this. If you are an individual expression of infinite love, and infinite love, God created you out of itself, and all infinite love knows is perfection, and it is perfect, and you're created out of it, by it, so it can experience itself as you. You deserve it. The key thing is, you have to embody it. You have to breathe it in, and you have to know it. It's your choice. What do you choose today? I want to thank you for joining us today. I'm so grateful that you took your time to watch or listen to this message. If you found this message beneficial, I would ask that you go to our website, agapecsl.com. Once there, click on the donate button and experience the joy of conscious and purposeful giving. Or if you would like, text your gift by simply dialing 972-532-6976. It is through your gifts that we are able to bring this message to you in the world. I would ask that if you like this message, to please subscribe to my YouTube channel under my name, Lee Wolak. Again, I want to thank you for joining me in the Agape community as we learn how to better self-love through conscious living.